Welcome back everyone to the Saphir Odoriko. Previously, I had the opportunity to ride the green car or business class car of this train. This time, I was able to reserve a ticket to the front seat on the premium green car class. As usual, I'm going to start by showing you the exterior of the train. The Saphir Odoriko has a very notable turquoise coloring, which represents the sea surrounding the Izu Peninsula, where this train will be heading. And now just stepping onto the train. Usually, limited express trains in Japan have 4 seats in each row, with 2 seats on each side of the aisle. Some trains feature green cars or business class seating with 3 seats on each row. This allows for additional space. As far as I know, the premium green car on the Saphir Odoriko is the only seating class that features 2 seats on each row. Each seat is covered with a shell-like casing, which allows passengers to lean back without crushing the person behind them. The view from the front seat might not look very impressive on footage, especially compared to the Romance Car Limited Express, but it's still provided for a pretty nice view. These buttons are for reclining. There's one pair that adjusts the backrest, while the other controls the footrest. It allows the passenger to lean back to the point that it almost feels like they're lying down. This is kinda like business class seating on modern airplanes. And there's also a switch for a reading lamp. And I'm just trying to give you a better idea of the electric adjustments. Unlike usual trains with pneumatic reclining mechanisms, the ones on the Saphir Odoriko are electric powered. From this angle, you can also see the casing behind the seat. There's a folding table that you can extract from the armrest. It is probably large enough for a laptop and a cup of coffee and a cinnamon roll. In many trains, the tables don't even provide enough space for a laptop. Passengers can also leave their large luggage at the back of the car. And finally, it's time to head back to my seat as the train is about to depart from Tokyo Station. The Saphir Odoriko No. 1, bound for Izukyu Shimoda, leaves Tokyo Station at 11 a.m. every morning. By the way, while most trains on the JR East network don't have a featured jingle, the Saphir Odoriko jingle that you're about to hear was composed specifically for this train by composer Naoya Fukushima. It is very elegant for a jingle that is just there for announcements.
JR 東日本をご利用くださいましてありがとうございます。この列車は特急サフィールオドリコ1号伊豆急下田行きです。途中品川、横浜、熱海、伊東、伊豆高原、伊豆熱川、伊豆稲区、河津に停車いたします。座席はすべて指定となっておりますので、お手持ちの指定券をお確かめください。カフェテリアは4号車です。トイレは2号車、3号車、5号車と7号車にあります。車内はデッキ、トイレを含めましてすべて禁煙です。お客様にお願いいたします。携帯電話をご使用の際は周りのお客様のご迷惑となりませんようデッキをご利用ください。次は品川に停車いたします。
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board the Saphir Odoriko Limited Express bound for Izukyu Shimoda. We will be stopping at Shinagawa, Yokohama, Atami, Ito, Izu Kogen, Izu Atagawa, Izu Inatori, and Kawazu. All seats on this train are reserved. The cafeteria is in car 4. Restrooms are available in cars 2, 3, 5, and 7. Please do not smoke in this train. If you wish to use a mobile phone, please go to the end sections near the doors. The next stop will be Shinagawa. We wish you a pleasant journey. Thank you.
お待たせいたしました。本日は JR 東日本ご利用いただきまして誠にありがとうございます。特別急行サフィール踊り子1号、伊豆急下田駅でございます。列車は先頭車両が最後の車両が8号車、8号線全車両の座席が指定されております。お手持ちの指定席券お確かめになりましてご利用ください。担当の乗務員は運転士、多摩地運転区、坂田、車掌、東京車掌区、五十嵐です。サフィーラテンダーと5名乗務いたします。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。新型コロナウイルス感染症拡大防止の観点から座席を回転しましての向かい合わせでのご利用はご遠慮いただいております。また引き続き駅構内車内でのマスクの着用をお願いいたしております。横須賀カフェテリアでは新型コロナウイルス感染症拡大防止の観点から座席数を減らしまして営業を行っております。本日のご予約は残りわずかとなっております。ご利用のお客様はモバイルオーダーサービスサフィールペイでご注文ください。なおサフィールペイでのお支払いはオンライン決済のみとさせていただいております。スマートフォンをお持ちでないお客様はお手当てがございましたらアカウントへお申し込みください。車内ワゴンでの車内販売も合わせて行っておりますのでご了承ください。本日は特別急行サフィール1号ご利用いただきまして誠にありがとうございます。次は品川に停車をいたします。
For those of you who can't make it in the morning, the Saphir Odoriko number 3 departs at 12:30, and train number 5 leaves at 12:25 from Shinjuku Station. However, the Saphir Odoriko number 3 does not run every day, and the Saphir Odoriko number 5 only runs on weekends. It only takes a little more than 5 minutes to arrive at Shinagawa Station, which is our first stop. The station following Shinagawa is Yokohama in Kanagawa Prefecture. A few minutes after leaving Shinagawa Station, you'll be able to find the Tokyo General Rolling Stock Center towards your right. It is here that they keep and restore trains that run on the Yamanote Line, as well as other major lines in the Tokyo area. This rolling stock center also stores several notable trains that are important to railroad history in Japan. The train is now crossing Tama River, which forms a large part of the border between Tokyo and Kanagawa Prefecture. Soon after the bridge comes Kawasaki Station, which is actually one of the busiest stations in the prefecture. The Saphir Odoriko, on the other hand, does not stop at this station, as more stops may lead to longer travel times. The blue train on the right is called the Keihin Tohoku line. Keihin stands for Tokyo and Yokohama, while Tohoku is the name for the line that extends northbound from Tokyo Station. Hence, this train connects cities in Kanagawa Prefecture such as Yokohama to regions beyond northern Tokyo. The train on the far right with blue and white stripes is the Yokosuka line. As you might have guessed, it connects Tokyo and Yokosuka. However, the Yokosuka line actually extends beyond the eastern side of Tokyo into Chiba Prefecture. This is why the full name of this line reads the Yokosuka Sobu line. The Sobu line, or Sobu, stands for the line that connects Tokyo and Chiba, with one Chinese character representing the previous name for these two regions. As you can see, the train is arriving at Yokohama Station. The first railroad in Japan was established in 1872 to connect Tokyo to the port in Yokohama, so there have been trains running in this area for exactly 150 years. That being said, the original Yokohama station was established at what is now known as Sakuragi-cho Station, which is about 2 or 3 kilometers closer to the port compared to the current location. Furthermore, the original terminus on the Tokyo side was placed around what we currently know as Shinbashi Station. Okay, so now I'm going off on a tangent that's totally unrelated to the Saphir Odoriko. But for the reasons that I just mentioned, most people think that the first trains in Japan ran in 1872. This would be true if we were to rephrase that by saying the first passenger trains operated in 1872, because the first train in Japan ran in Nagasaki back in 1858. However, this steam engine only ran a test course over a 1-month period and was not a permanent establishment. The train here striped in green and orange are used for the Tokaido Line as well as the Shonan-Shinjuku Line. The Tokaido Line connects Tokyo to Kobe along the eastern coast of Japan. Until 2015, all Tokaido Line trains had to terminate at Tokyo Station. However, with the opening of the Ueno-Tokyo Line, these trains now provide through service to the Tohoku and Takasaki lines, which lead north from Tokyo. The Shonan-Shinjuku Line, as its name may suggest, bypasses Tokyo Station by heading north through the western side of Tokyo, along stations such as Shibuya, Shinjuku, and Ikebukuro. We are currently passing through Ofuna Station. At Ofuna Station, the Yokosuka line parts ways with the Tokaido Line. We are currently passing through Fujisawa Station. From Fujisawa Station, you can transfer onto the Odakyu Line, which is famous for their romance car limited express. At this moment, I would also like to give you a more detailed introduction to the E261 series Saphir Odoriko train. The E261 series Saphir Odoriko was manufactured in 2019 and entered operation in 2020 in order to replace the Superview Odoriko, which operated on 251 series trains. The predecessor, Superview Odoriko, was introduced in 1990 as a deluxe version of the Odoriko Limited Express, which connects Tokyo to the Izu Peninsula. Like the Saphir Odoriko, the Superview Odoriko featured train service crew and front seat views from cars number 1 and number 10. It also contained features that are currently unavailable on the Saphir Odoriko, such as elevated seats and two-story cars. The Superview Odoriko retired from service in 2020 as it became too worn out to be in service as a luxury limited express. Unlike the Superview Odoriko, which ran with 10 cars, the Saphir Odoriko only has 8 cars. Out of the 8 cars, car number 1, on which I'm filming at the moment, is a premium green car with 2 leather back seats on each row. Car number 4 is the dining car, and all other cars feature regular green cars with 3 seats per row. The top speed of the Saphir Odoriko is set to 120 km per hour. And the train itself has been made from aluminum alloy, which provides for a lighter option compared to steel. I also forgot to mention that the Saphir Odoriko features skylight windows on the ceiling. This is Kozu Station. From this station, the Gotemba line branches out towards the west, while the Tokaido Line continues on its journey towards the southwest. While the Gotemba line is not very significant today, it served a very significant role in Japanese railroad history. Back in the 19th century, when the Tokaido Line was first established between the cities of Tokyo and Kobe, this segment of the train line did not travel along the coast as it does today, but went into the mountains, following the tracks of what we call the Gotemba Line today. It wasn't until the Tana Tunnel was completed in 1934 that the Tokaido Line switched to the current route. Now there are two reasons as to why the old Tokaido Line went through Gotemba, despite having to traverse a very mountainous area, which isn't very suitable for trains. The first reason was due to military logistics. Leaders of the Navy were not very keen on placing the first major railroad in Japan in a geopolitically vulnerable location. This area between the Miura Peninsula and the Izu Peninsula has direct access to the Pacific Ocean, as opposed to the Tokyo Bay, which is protected on three sides. Therefore, it was very likely that enemy ships could initiate a naval invasion from this area. If anything, it was also around this location that the first US ships landed in what was then the Tokugawa feudal state. The second reason was due to technical limitations. While the coastal line provides for a more direct westbound route, it had to cross the Amagi Mountains located towards the northern end of the Izu Peninsula. The hilly route towards Gotemba, on the other hand, did not require tunnels, as the incline was comparatively manageable. This all changed with the completion of the Tana Tunnel, which began operation in 1934 after 16 years of construction. With a length of 7.8 kilometers, this was the second longest tunnel in Japan at that time. So you might be wondering why they changed their mind about the hilly route. The main reason was due to the hilly route becoming a choke point on the Tokaido Line.
現在この列車は早川根府川間を走行中です。ただいま22分の遅れをもちまして運転をしております。次の熱海駅到着見込み時刻は12時39分頃となっております。あと12分ほどで熱海駅到着を予定しております。
Back in the early 20th century, let alone the 19th century, they didn't have bullet trains like we do today. If anything, most trains were operated on steam engines. And like I said before, while the incline of the Gotemba line was manageable, its slopes required all trains passing through this section to add another locomotive to give the train an extra push. However, connecting an additional steam engine takes time and effort. Besides, there was a considerable limit on speed, simply due to the slopes. The completion of the Tana Tunnel and the coastal route, therefore, cleared these two issues. Okay, after talking about all that though, I do have to mention that the Saphir Odoriko does not go through the Tana Tunnel as it travels down the eastern side of Izu Peninsula instead of cutting through the Amagi Mountains to cross over to the western side. As a railroad fan, I am quite glad that they decided on creating the coastal route. The section between Odawara and Atami stations was essentially built on top of a cliff overseeing the Pacific Ocean. If anything, you will be able to get an uninterrupted view leading up to Shinagawa Station. The train soon arrives at Atami Station. Atami is a city in Shizuoka Prefecture that's famous for hot springs. I'm not a geologist, but I think that there are many hot springs in this region due to Mount Fuji and its volcanic activities.
The Tokaido Line, please transfer at this station. The stop after Atami will be Ito. Thank you.
From Atami Station, the Saphir Odoriko leaves the Tokaido Line and enters the Ito Line and the Izukyu Line, heading towards Izukyu Shimoda Station, which is located on the southern tip of the Izu Peninsula. This section will be featured in the following video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the like button and I'll catch you later on the second leg of my trip.